Did you ever notice just how similar the Barbie movie and Legally Blonde are? Both have supporting friends, go on a personal journey to find themselves, and wear a lot of pink. Barbie and Elle Woods have similar personalities, but the script handles the topic of feminism quite differently. And let's figure out why. Now, to understand where these two films are coming from, we're first gonna have to understand what is feminism. Now, let me tell you, that is a complex topic with a very long history that dates back to ancient times. Now, it wasn't until the 1800s that the first wave of feminism came to be. Now, in this stage, it was all about the suffrage movement to give women the right to vote. In 1920, the United States gave women the right to vote under the 19th Amendment. The second wave of feminism came in the 1960s. It was more about equality amongst the genders rather than voting rights. And the second wave had a lot of backlash because some believed that the main focus was on the voices of white college-educated women. Enter the third wave of feminism that brings in a broader scope and brings to light the tribulations of the workplace. Now, this is a very small snippet to feminism's complicated history, and it's still evolving to this day. So to answer the question, what is feminism? That's where things kind of start to get into a gray area in our society. I'm gonna be honest, I am a woman, and I'm kind of confused at what it is. It's ever-changing and individualistic, making it quite difficult to have a global definition for it. And for the sake of this video, and so that we can all kind of be on the same page, let's just go with the broadest definition and say that feminism is the idea of advocating for women's rights. Now that we got the boring history lesson out of the way, how is feminism presented in Legally Blonde and Barbie? Well, if you recall the plot of Legally Blonde, Elle Woods, a sorority girl, gets dumped by her boyfriend. This event leads her to go to law school at Harvard, and instead of getting back with her ex-boyfriend, she becomes so much better, becoming the top law student upon graduation. I'm sorry, I had to reference the Legally Blonde musical at least once in this video. Elle's journey is all about self-discovery and finding her purpose. If it wasn't for her ex-boyfriend dumping her, then she would have stayed in her easy life, and the story would have never even started. Elle breaks away from the stereotypical blonde and tells us that she's smart. Not only for Harvard standards, but she's smarter than most of the people that take the LSAT. Legally Blonde follows the journey of someone's pursuit to find control and to build something for themselves. And although some might perceive Elle as a feminine icon, other individuals can still find inspiration from her story as well. In the Barbie movie, Margot Robbie's Barbie might have a similar journey to Elle Woods, but that's not the only thing that's presented. After Margot Robbie's Barbie wakes up from dreamland, she adventures into the real world, and women are treated a lot differently than they are in Barbie land. As a result, Margot Robbie's Barbie learns that she would rather live with her struggles than live in an artificial dreamland. And the Barbie movie doesn't just focus on Margot Robbie's character's identity crisis. It celebrates all different types of women, and its main focus is to empower the women watching, and that's a wonderful thing. Now, just like how we talked about the different types of feminism, these two films focus on different ideas of the movement. Legally Blonde focuses more on gender equality that stemmed from the second wave of feminism. Elle's main goal is to be taken seriously and to be judged on her intelligence, not her looks. Barbie is more of an example of third wave feminism, wanting every woman to feel empowered and heard, no matter their background. Honestly, the ideas of feminism in these two films can be boiled down to one scene. When our protagonist is down on their luck, a supporting character comes in and voices their wisdom. In Barbie, it's America Ferrera's character, and in Legally Blonde, it's Elle's professor who kicked her out of class earlier on. Now, these two scenes play an important role in what the audience is going to get out of this movie. When Elle is about to quit law school, her professor steps in, and although she only says one simple sentence that goes along the lines of, "Don't let one man stand in the way of doing something great." I had to paraphrase. She says something that may not be as nice to say, okay? And this is enough to snap Elle out of her funk and become the best lawyer she can be. And it helps reinforce the idea that Elle wants to be taken seriously. Now in Barbie, America Ferrera explains in 2.5 minutes why the standards that society puts on women are unobtainable. And this emotional speech is what helps free the Barbies and help them take control of Barbie Land once more. And it reinforces the idea that it's okay to say something is difficult, and it's okay to be emotionally vulnerable. From a generational aspect, these two scenes mark two different points of view that are constantly butting heads. Elle's professor shows us the idea of never showing weakness and always being in control, and these generational ideas were prevalent in the 60s and 70s when a woman's main focus was to be well respected among men. And this is quite similar to the advice given to the girl boss movement of the early 2010s. Nowadays, that type of feminism has been looked upon as toxic because it lacks sensitivity, where America Ferrera's speech heavily leans into being vulnerable and being sensitive. The general synopsis is being a woman is hard. Now, for these two movies to come out roughly 20 years apart, I honestly don't think they would have been as culturally impactful if their release dates were reversed. If Barbie came out in 2001, I don't think it would have been as much of a financial success, where Legally Blonde wouldn't be groundbreaking at all. Just would have been thrown into a streaming service and nobody would have paid attention to it. When we think of the time period, they are a staple of the times and showcase how much feminism has changed. And I honestly don't know if it's a step forward or if we've stalled out. I can see it both ways. Now, before a bunch of people get angry with me in the comments, please let me explain. We'll start with the positives. I see Barbie as an improvement because Barbie is a movie about women. It has a female director. Different types of women are involved, and it visually showcases the perspective of what's it like to be a woman. Legally Blonde doesn't touch upon any of these notions, and the only scene that comes to mind is the bend and snap scene. And one could argue that this scene isn't empowering because they're using the bend and snap to impress men, so you have that. In America Ferrera's speech, women feel heard and valued through her words. And I know there's some of you out there that enjoy that speech, and that's awesome. I'm never gonna stop you from feeling your feelings. However, it's not my cup of tea. Now, this could genuinely just be a me problem, or I just don't understand what this speech entails. And you can enlighten me in the comments, but I don't find this speech empowering. Quite frankly, it makes me annoyed. It's hard to be a woman. Yes, but isn't life hard for everyone? The topics that she talks about aren't just limited to women. Things like body image and work-life balance are general issues that everyone is dealing with. Life is full of contradictions, and those contradictions aren't limited to just women's issues. And I think the reason why I think this is a stall out is because there is no call to action. If America Ferrera's speech doesn't have a concise conclusion and ends with "I don't know," then what does that say about the state of feminism as a whole? We're fighting one another on what the definition of it is. We're starting fights between generations of feminists. We're lost in the details and only looking at our differences, when in reality we should be praising and embracing our similarities, not just between women from different backgrounds, but between genders as well. If we're all asking for equality, then shouldn't that be the thing that we're fighting for? Legally Blonde isn't a story that mainly focuses on the ideas of feminism. It's more of a byproduct. Through the twists and turns of Elle's journey, she's placed in some unfortunate situations, highlighting that it's hard to be a woman. But it doesn't have to be verbally told to the audience. We can visually see that life isn't fair. And despite those struggles, Elle still succeeds. Now, I don't know if this is just me being blinded by nostalgia or whatever. When Elle wins her case, I truly feel happy for her. And it doesn't matter if it's the first time I've watched it or the millionth time, I'm gonna feel proud of her. Legally Blonde is a personal journey, and when the chips are down, it helps the audience answer the question, what are you going to do about it? Now, you could argue that both of these films have pros and cons to feminism. And contrary to belief, I don't have a petty feud with either one of these films. They're fun little movies, and I don't really take either of them that seriously. Barbie celebrates all different types of women, and that's really cool to see, while Legally Blonde tells us that nothing is out of reach. And for some odd reason, we've put these two facets against each other, and I truly don't understand why. And in order for the feminist movement to evolve, it needs to embrace both. Being emotionally vulnerable and striving for the stars have to work in tandem. To retool what America Ferrera was talking about in her speech, being a woman is hard. But what are you going to do about it? That's all I gotta say about that. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm a little nervous talking about feminism. I know that it's a sensitive topic for a lot of different individuals out there. And I honestly am not making this video to enrage anyone. I just was kind of interested that I saw a lot of parallels between these two movies. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I know all the answers to anything, because I don't. I really don't know anything. I guess what I'm looking for in the end of the day, and what I hope and wish that all of you try to do in your own life, is to just treat people with respect. That's the biggest superpower that you can give. So if this video gave you some clarity, then cool, awesome. If it didn't, then I'm sorry, I don't know why you watched this then. And if you're looking for another video to help you boost your film knowledge, then why don't you click on this video over here? Well, I guess I'll see you when I see you next. Okay, bye.